Here's O'Hara. He hands off to Mayer, and look out! He's off to the races. There he goes! 90 yards on the touchdown run for Mayer, and the Jags are rolling.
All right, we are back right here at the Florence Barleycorns. Big crowd tonight, getting ready for the final week of the regular season in Kentucky. I am Tom Gamble, along with Jaguars coach Randy Borchers. So the order of the program tonight, we'll do a little chat about the last few games. Then I'll welcome up special guest Evan Dennison from Link NKY, talk about the Kentucky playoff, the Northern Kentucky teams in the playoff district champs, etc., of which Cooper is one. Then I will chat with two of your five team captains. That'll be Noah Reichel and Max Wethington, and then we'll bring you back up to talk about the postseason. So let's start first and foremost with the Jaguars' current run, 4 games in a row, winning streak, put up 40-plus points in each of those games, also winning 6 of 7 after what was a brutal start, which naturally had to prepare your team. I mean, when you look at the 3 teams that you've lost to, 10-0 Anderson, which is probably in Ohio the favorite to win Division II. They've only been tested once, and that was Winton Woods 2 weeks ago. They won 37-30. Then you lost to Highlands, which is 8-2, and they've only lost, a couple games to one Boyle County on the road. Then they lost to 10-0 Elder at the Pit, and then DuPont Manual, which is 7-2. So, I mean, when you look at those 3 teams, how much did those 3 teams prepare you for the back half of your schedule?
I think the biggest thing it did was it allowed us to know who we were as a football program. Coming into the year, we lost so many key parts of our football program, almost 3,500 yards of receiving. And, we kind of came in knowing that we had some key parts back with Riker Campbell and Cam O'Hara and those guys. But we had a lot of question marks, and we really didn't have an identity of who we were at that time. So coming out and playing the competition that we did, we had to figure out what we could do, what we were going to be good at, and then just kind of build on that. So sometimes if you play an easy schedule, you get a false sense of who you really are. Well, we found out who we were right away because, we struggled early offensively, especially, and we had to figure out some things.
When you get into district play and you reel off 4 straight wins, win the district, back-to-back district titles for the first time in program history. Congrats on that, certainly. And you've won 6 of 7, and you coming off a 49-3 victory last week over Boone County. You're at Simon Kenton, and for those who are unaware, it's Thursday night, 7 o'clock kickoff in Independence, with Halloween being Friday. Bumped it up to Thursday night. And I know you haven't played him a ton, but you haven't beaten Simon Kenton ever. Cooper has never defeated Simon Kenton, so hopefully that'll change on Thursday. I'd be remiss. It is Monday night. There's Monday Night Football, and they have something here at Barleycorns called a Bengals Happy Hour. I don't know how happy it is, but you can get happier with their specials, and they're good during NFL action like tonight, where it's the Washington Commanders sans Jaden Daniels against the, here we go again, Kansas City Chiefs. Hot. But nonetheless, what are you looking for Thursday night? Final regular season game, and in Kentucky, for some silly reason, you get 11 weeks to play 10 games. I will never understand that, but they didn't ask me. But what are you looking for Thursday night? You obviously want to be healthy because now the second season, the postseason, is where you've made runs the last 2 years to the 5A state final. It'll be difficult to do that this year, but you're in position. We'll talk about getting some of your injured guys back, hopefully. But what are you looking for Thursday at SK?
I think the biggest thing is we just want to continue to improve. The last 2 weeks, our starters, I think we ran 12 offensive plays the first half 2 weeks ago and 16, Friday night. So, really being able to play a full game, get our guys back playing a full game, coming out after halftime, and really just trying to bring these guys back into cleaning some things up, playing against some pretty good, Simon's got a really nice football team. So, we're going to have to do things well. We're going to have to be able to stop the run. We're going to have to be able to stop the pass. And we're going to have to be able to put some points on the board.
Now, Simon lost last week in a game for their district title in 6A at Reichel and Union 41-13. So, when you look at this, and you're getting some injured guys back, right? You got a couple of them back last week. You hope to get a couple more back by the postseason, and Christian Brown might be a long shot, right? But maybe if you're alive long enough in the postseason. But talk about getting guys back, staying healthy. And I know you obviously are never going to complain as a coach about lopsided wins, but you did mention something there. How difficult is it to all of a sudden you've got multiple weeks? I mean, you had running clock 2 weeks ago in the first quarter, this past week in the second quarter, and then you're not playing a lot of your guys. And it's hard. I've talked to coaches before about flipping that switch, right? It's hard to, you're asking guys to not play in the second half sometimes out of sportsmanship, but then all of a sudden you're in the postseason and you may be at crunch time where you need guys making plays.
Yeah, and one of the things that's really cool with this team, I think it's the veteran team coming out and the leadership we've got. But, two of our best week of practices have been the last 2 weeks. So, our kids they've kind of gone about this the right way. And to be honest with you, we needed a couple weeks like that because we were pretty banged up. Even the guys that were playing, I mean, we went, you mentioned it. I mean, our guys went through the gauntlet early in the year. Even, we played a really physical Reichel team, a really physical Highlands team, Manual team, Anderson team, and, even Campbell County was a pretty physical football team. So, you play 5 games right off the bat. Your kids are banged up. They're sore. They're tired. So, our bye came at the perfect time. Then we got, then after the bye, we had 2 games that we were able to get our kids kind of back in the groove, get them healthy. So, we're hoping we're going into the playoffs full strength and getting most of our guys back. And we want to use this week to bring some of those guys we got coming back and bring them back slow, give them a few reps here and there. So, hopefully come first round of playoffs, they're all full go.
Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't just mention a couple numbers that are staggering. You've got a quarterback in Cam O'Hara who's been starting since his freshman year, is over 10,000 yards. You've got in passing. You've got who surpassed Tanner Morgan, who had a fine career at Reichel, went on to the University of Minnesota, did the same there in career passing yardage. So Cam now is the unequivocal leader in yardage in Northern Kentucky. Keegan Mayer has a chance. He needs around 200 yards to go over 4,000 yards rushing for his career. And O'Hara and Mayer are only the second duo to play together and do the 10,000, 3,000. That's pretty impressive. And you look at Cam O'Hara with 133 passing touchdowns, and he's tied. One of the guys he's tied with, of course, is Tim Couch, who went on to play at the University of Kentucky, have his career ruined when he was drafted by the Browns because they suck, still suck today. And another guy named Ricky Bowling. But those are some impressive numbers. And I think people understand when you look at the receivers, and we talked about this at one of our earlier shows, but the adjustment that Cam O'Hara has had to make this year with a completely new receiving core, it's been pretty amazing that they still have been as productive as they have been. And coaches talk about balance on offense. Do you realize in total yards, you are 2 yards off from your rushing yards and passing yards for the year? 2 yards. So
That's
you have made
the way
it
we
balanced.
planned it, Tom. No, I had no idea on that, but that is
how about that?
Pretty interesting.
1380 and 1382. It's pretty incredible. Now,
that is.
Before I welcome up Evan, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you. I just want to know, with all the movement in college football at the coaching level, when you get canned, what type of buyout do you have written into your contract? I'm just curious.
I think I get to keep a hat and a polo that was given to me this year. So, I'll be set. I'll have my clothes for a good year at least.
They wonder sometimes why high school coaches emulate college coaches. Guys who have wanted to coach at the college level, when they see those numbers, what are we doing here, right? It's insane. Don't feel bad for these guys, right? Lane Kiffin now, by the end of the year, he's going to have 9 coaching jobs because everybody wants him.
And you look at it, and all you keep hearing is, where's Brian Kelly going to go next? Where's Franklin going to go? I wouldn't go anywhere. I'll take my $50 million and go somewhere.
Jimbo Fisher,
yeah.
He took $75+ million. You haven't seen or heard from him. I wouldn't do anything either.
And if I was a college AD, I would never give someone that type of contract because those guys have nothing to work for then.
Well, and did you see now where it's $800,000 a month to Brian Kelly? And I guess one of the lawmakers down there said the taxpayers are going to pay it. What are we doing? As soon as we open up the government, of course. But that's a whole other story for a whole other day. Anyway, all right, you're done for session 1. We'll welcome up Evan Dennison from Lincoln KY. And a lot of cool stories around high school football in Northern Kentucky. I'm also going to ask him about a state athletic association north of the river that just threw a team. This is rare. Literally threw a team, Ironton, out of the playoffs. That doesn't happen very often, but I guess 7 years of transgressions. I don't know what took them so long,
I
but
saw some
nonetheless,
stuff on that, and it seems like
it's crazy.
It's been going on for a while, and they just
7
found out.
years.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah,
Crazy.
so Evan will come up here, but we got a lot to talk about in Northern Kentucky. We'll do that next. A reminder here, hang on now, it's Monday night, and I know you and I are big Singo fans, so don't forget right here, every Monday night, Singo at Barleycorns, Florence. It's free to play, fun for everybody, and they give away a lot of great prizes. So that's Singo again. That'll be resuming next Monday. All right, it's the Cooper Football Show with Jaguars coach Randy Borchers right here at the Florence Barleycorns. We'll chat with Evan Dennison from Link NKY when we continue. All right, welcome back to the Florence and Barleycorns in Florence, or the Florence Barleycorns, easy for me to say. I'm Tom Gamble, joined right now here on the Cooper Football Show by Evan Dennison, who gets the pleasure of covering Northern Kentucky high school sports, not just football, but we're talking football tonight predominantly. Evan, welcome to Barleycorns. How you doing tonight?
Doing great. Thanks for having me here and here with Jaguar family.
Well, here we go, Week 11, final week of the regular season. But let's go class by class and talk about our district champions. And there have been some great stories in Northern Kentucky this year. In Class A, where there are two district champs because they play in different districts. One is Newport Central Catholic, and that's not really a surprise, but maybe the one that's captivating most at the small school level is Holy Cross. I mean, they're undefeated and had an outstanding season. And I know it gets tougher when you get to the postseason, have to play teams from around the state, but are you surprised that that they still are undefeated going into the final week?
I'll brag on myself just a tad because when I put out district predictions before the season started, I did put Holy Cross number 1. But once they beat Bracken County in week 2, I looked at the rest of their schedule and I said, wow, they can really run the table here. And they've been building up. They had a very young roster last year with a lot of sophomores. They're all juniors now and upperclassmen. So, yeah, I mean, I think they're doing what they're supposed to. And, credit to them. They're 9-0 right now.
Now, how difficult will it be for either New Cath or Holy Cross come postseason time in the 1A state playoffs? How difficult will it be for either one to make a deep run, in your opinion?
It's tough. Once you get to 1A in the third round, that's when things really, really start to heat up and get a lot tougher. Both their RPIs are right there in the 7-8 range, so technically they may get a home game in the third round if they can get there. But once you run into the Pikevilles, Kentucky Country Days, Campbellsvilles, things really start to get tough in 1A.
Well, we'll talk about the RPI because for those who are unaware, you play your first 2 rounds and then they reseed, in essence every round from that point forward. So there you have in 1A, in 2A, surprise, it's Beechwood again. I had to chuckle a bit. Last week they played for the district championship, and you do have to wonder when you see those scores, especially the district scores, and it's not their fault. That's the district that they're in. But you do have to wonder, at some point, how do you keep coaching that? I mean, I know the ultimate goal is another state championship as they're getting closer to 20, but those games can't be fun. I know it's, in the old neighborhood games, you love to kind of lay one on somebody, but after a while, do they get bored? Do you ever talk to them about that, about how ridiculous it is playing those type of games week in and week out in your district?
It's funny you say that because, hearing talks from Coach Volker and the rest of the team, they told the district, hey, we're playing our starters 2 quarters regardless, no matter what this year, because that gets them prepped maybe a little bit for the postseason, but they got to get those guys in for at least a half, and then it becomes, their JV team from that point on. So it's a good way to develop their younger guys, but, yeah, you're right. It doesn't do much for them in the long run when you're beating teams 59-0, 60-6,
70-0. Well, and I asked Randy about that because it's a real it's a dilemma. How long you don't want to show somebody up. Some coaches never care, but most do. And then all of a sudden, you only play 2 quarters, and now you're expected to play. And in the fourth quarter, when things get difficult, down the stretch. So Beach would expect another long run.
And with them, too, they have one of the most electric offenses in the state.
Right.
The quarterback just picked up an Arizona State offer, which is, that's a Power 4 school.
That's huge,
time.
Yeah.
And then Tyler Fryman, you're seeing him pick up an offer every other day from some big-time programs, Notre Dame, Kentucky, Cincinnati, to name a few. So the way they can put points up so quick, it kind of does them, a little bit of a disservice when we talk about games like these.
Long
For
run
sure.
again, you
yeah,
think?
I mean, anything less then getting to the state championship game, I think for them would be seen as probably a disappointment in their standards for sure.
Class 3A, Kyle Niederman's done an outstanding job at Lloyd. They're undefeated, and the only challenge with Lloyd has been once they get to that out of Northern Kentucky, it gets, like for anybody, it gets more difficult. But, boy, what an outstanding year. They're undefeated as well.
Kyle's a great dude. He's done a great job with that program, and, they're 9-0 and doing big things. And what the amount of seniors they had last season and what they're able to do this year has been really impressive. Schedule's been pretty favorable for them, and their district maybe not as premier as some of the other 3As in the state, but I think they can make a deep run. It's just a matter of can they get out of that second and third round, close out games. The last 2 years they had blown 2 or 3 touchdown leads in those games, so it's a matter of just closing the deal and keeping advancing for them.
All right, we're going class by class, looking at the district's races and champions here. I'm with Evan Dennison from Link NKY, and now we get to 4A, 5A, and 6A, where it gets really much deeper in terms of the talent of the fields. And 4A, my good, this might be from top to bottom, at least those elite teams. And you've got Covenant Catholic and Highlands. Can they meet again? And in some scenarios, depending on how the RPI shakes out, they could actually meet again if it played out in the state final. Could meet before that. But they played once this year. It was obviously a very close, 3-point game. And so who do you give the edge to here? These are two very good teams. CovCath played a brutal early schedule. Highlands has won 8 games, but these are two teams that certainly around the state always command respect. And the other programs are going, I don't necessarily know if I want to meet them.
4A is a gauntlet. I mean, it's going to be the hardest state title to win in the state because you've got at least 6 to 8 teams that can really say, yeah, we can win a state championship. And CovCath Highlands are in that mix. That'd be really cool if they ended up meeting in Lexington for the state championship with the long and storied history of those two programs. But CovCath's going to have to go on the road quite a bit. I know Cooper's very familiar with doing that 2 years ago, but they're going to have to go to Johnson Central, most likely Boyle County, and then again on the road in the semis before they even would get to Lexington. So their path is brutal, but they've got the horses to do it. And then Highlands, the way they can run the ball and mow teams down with their offensive line, they're going to be in every game no matter what they do.
Now I'll bring this up once we get done with 5A and 6A. I think it is completely ludicrous that two teams from the same area can meet in a state final, but I'll hold my thought on that. And I'm not sold on this RPI. I don't understand it, think it's silly, but that's, again, when they call me and ask my opinion, I'll give it to them. Now 5A, Cooper's made runs to back-to-back state championships. Obviously, Bowling Green, and when you looked at Bowling Green at the early season, you're like, how many games are they going to win? But they're a threat again because they've obviously gotten healthy and they're winning games. But 5A, for Cooper and or anyone else, there are some really good teams, the Woodford counties, Pulaski. There are some good teams in 5A. This also is a pretty darn deep class around the state.
Oh, 100%. And then you look at Cooper's cross district that they're going to face in the postseason. Yep. Those teams 1 through 4 have all been ranked at some point in the season. So South Oldham's going to be their first-round opponent. They're no slouch. They were number 7 in the state a couple weeks ago, and they've lost a couple now that they've gotten their district. But that's going to be a very tough first-round game, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be well aware of that. Considering what they had faced last year against South Oldham. And, the 5A is, again, it's open as can be. I think it's another one where, there's 5, 6, 7, 8 teams, including Cooper, that can definitely run the gauntlet and go to Lexington. And
6A, of course, last year was the Union Special with Cooper and Reichel, both in Union playing for state championships. And, Reichel was one that I thought early in the season might have had one of the most talented teams. They've had a lot of injuries. They're now starting to get some guys back. 6A, difficult with the Louisville teams always, every year. But they seem to be peaking at the right time and playing their best football. And do you see Reichel having the ability to make a deep run in the postseason?
Yeah, again, it's just it all depends on health. I think the play of quarterback Nathan Verax is going to have to, improve for them as well. But with Jacob Savage and Damon Ennis in the backfield, they're capable of doing anything with the bruising style of running that they do. So if the Cards play well, I think it'll work out for them. But it's just a matter of they got to get through that second-round matchup. It's most likely going to be Ballard, who's a really good defensive team. So, I think it's going to be a lot tougher this year for them to get there, but there's definitely a chance for them to do so.
So I'm going to ask you about the RPI. A, do you like it? B, do you like the constant reseeding once you get out of the second round? So you're shaking your head, no, I don't like the RPI. What is it about the RPI in particular that you don't like?
Talking to Randy about it, we think it's a good concept. We really do. But then, speaking for myself, I just think the formula on it is very, very – it just seems unfair if you're playing someone from out of state. Cooper played Anderson. Anderson's,
Correct.
What, the number 2 team in the state of Ohio?
And they're they're probably clearly they're the best team that Cooper's played.
So the way the formula works out,
I know,
it treats them as a 500 football team.
Yeah,
they're not a 500 football team.
No, that's great. They're undefeated.
So, when you do something like that, it doesn't weight things good for you.
So maybe with refinement, the concept could work, in your opinion? I mean, I think, but I think when you look at these systems, there's a flaw. The Harbin computer ratings, which are used in Ohio, the flaw there is there's no benefit to playing and losing a close game or whatever. There's no the strength of schedule. There's no formula for that. So, and you're reliant on, you got to win games. And the theory sounds easy, and then you got to hope that the teams you beat win games, and then you get their second-level points. I think I don't know. There's not a perfect system, and maybe that's the problem.
And there's pros and cons to all of it, but I just think there's got to be some sort of way in the formula where it rewards you for if you do go play an out-of-state team that's high up in their state, or you go beat a Reichel who's a 6A team, and maybe they've lost 2 or 3 games this year, but that still should reward you for going to beat a top 10 team in 6A instead of maybe giving you a penalization if they lose a couple games.
All right, 3 quick topics before I let you go here. If you had to pick any Northern Kentucky teams that you think have the best chance, and I know we're obviously at the Cooper football show, but give me your honest opinion, have the best chance to win state championships, who would they be?
You got to start with Beechwood. I think that's the top choice of a team that should be there. From there, I think you go Highlands, Cov-Caf, and then I think the way 5A is set up, I do think Cooper can make another deep run with what they have. I mean, they've got a very experienced quarterback, obviously, in Cam. Keegan's been unreal this year. I mean, he's already over 1,000 yards rushing. I mean, and he's getting 4 carries for 160 yards
right,
and 3 touchdowns in games.
Despite not playing full games.
And, with Reichel, spearheading the defense and with guys like Dax Bowl and things like that, I mean, they're playing well as a team. And what's crazy to say is I think this team might be equipped just as good as maybe the prior ones because they're getting those tough yards running the football. They're playing some hard-nosed defense. And obviously the schedule has shown that they can compete with anybody that they've played in the state.
2 final topics here. I know you follow neighboring states and stuff that's going on, and over in Ohio there's a couple stories. The OHSAA just removed Ironton, which is a classic, like, blue-collar city, perennial state power, from the postseason for what they called recruiting bylaw violations that have gone on for 7 years. They literally booted them from the postseason before it started. They also then have kind of show cause, if you will, on coaches should they go on to coach at another OHSAA school. They're suspended for next year. They also put them on 3 years probation and fine them $7,500. That's a huge, rarely does that occur, and especially to just heave them from the postseason before it begins. You don't see that very often.
Hate the timing of it, but, if you get caught.
You know what they did that was smart, though? They normally would kind of re-go through and they didn't strip the regular season victor. So, in other words, it would have – well, they probably couldn't have gotten it done in time, but you know how they would have had to re-jockey the computer points. So that's one story. And the other one is the NIL. There's only a few states, of which Ohio is one. And Ramir Brown, his parents, he plays at Huber Heights Wayne and is the number 1 recruit at wide receiver, is committed to Ohio State. He's only a junior, but basically they sued his family, the OHSAA, saying that because he could not use the name, image, and likeness, he's obviously lost an opportunity at those dollars. And a Franklin County judge, issued a temporary restraining order. So right now, I guess, get it while it's getting good. But I don't know. Your thoughts on the NIL at the high school level in general?
Let them get paid. If someone's willing to, put their neck out there or, put their name under something as far as a sponsor.
So you're okay with it at high school level?
100%.
Okay, that's interesting.
If they're talented and if someone is reaching out and they want to get, give them some opportunities to make some money, Why not?
So at some point, are we going to have like the Boone County Pee Wee League? Or are you going to? I mean, where does it stop? That's a problem for me. I don't know. I understand your premise, but certainly great debate. Good stuff to talk about.
It's a very small scale of things too. I mean, you got to think like.
Well, people have to understand, and I know what you're saying is they're not going to get somebody, no booster of a high school. Well, I mean, I just stop while I'm ahead, right? I mean, because let's be honest, you never know.
Well, I mean, you look at guys like Taylor Kinney,
yeah.
Newport High School,
right?
I think in that case,
6 figures, right, to go to a prep school,
right?
I mean,
and he's done enough to put his brand and his name out there. Then yes, I do believe that if there's money making opportunities, let him go get it.
Fair enough. So for anybody out there, linknky.com. It's all right there. What are you going to have coming up? Which game are you covering this week?
Oh, God. I got to get through this week first. I got soccer state semifinals on
right.
Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
Thursday
all
I
right.
might actually be at Cooper Simon Kenton. Just kind of – I haven't seen the Jags since week 2, week 3. So I kind of want to see them before their playoff run. Then Friday I'll be off because of Halloween. Got to go trick-or-treating with the boy. And then
there you go.
Saturday we got cross-country. So it doesn't end.
Yeah, this time of year for you is brutal. I know. Appreciate you coming out and spending some time with us. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Wing Wednesday right here at Barleycorns. Dollar Wings, live music starting at 6. That's right here at the Florence Barleycorns. And the other locations, too. They have one in Lakeside Park, Cold Spring, and the Barleycorns Brew House in Wilder. So, Evan, thanks. Evan Dennison from Link NKY sharing his thoughts, and appreciate you coming out tonight. When we continue, we'll welcome up 2 of the 5 captains, Noah Reichel, Max Wethington. Will get their thoughts on what has been an amazing run by this group of seniors. We'll look at Thursday's game and then ahead to perhaps another postseason run. It's the Cooper Football Show right here at the Florence Barleycorns. More coming up in just a couple minutes. All right, welcome back to the Florence Barleycorns. We roll along on the Cooper Football Show tonight. I'm Tom Gamble, joined by 2 of the 5 Cooper senior captains this year, Noah Reichel, Max Wethington, and we'll find out what these guys are thinking after 4 consecutive district wins, lopsided, albeit, and then the big game Thursday night. Final regular season game at Simon Kenton, kickoff 7 o'clock. In Independence, where Cooper looks to take momentum, finish 7-3 in the regular season, get ready for South Oldham in the first round. That'll be home. Cooper will have home games, South Oldham, and then should they defeat South Oldham, they will play the winner of Scott County and Connor the following week before likely heading on the road. So, Noah, I'll start with you. Season to date, tough beginning, some really good competition. How has that helped you guys win the last 4, win 6 of 7? Or are you starting to get confidence and feel pretty good about the way you're playing now?
Yeah, the beginning of the season, it was for sure tough because the schedule was so hard. But as the season went, we've kind of found our groove, and we're continuing to find that in the playoffs, and it's going to do well. But I think the first couple of games were good for us to find out what kind of team we were because we graduated a lot of good players. But we had, a good class still there, so it was good to bring the younger guys in and kind of figure out what kind of team we had.
Max, for you, talk about, you mentioned how difficult those first 3 games. What are you seeing different? Obviously, opponents, but I mean the last 4 weeks and 6 of 7. What do you feel like this team is doing better now going into the Simon Kenton game than you did maybe early in the year?
Well, I feel like we're just gluing at the right time. We're coming together late in the year. The first couple games, like Noah said, we were struggling. As you can tell, we played some of the best teams in our area, so I just think we're gluing at the right time, and things are starting to come together.
No, you've been a 3-year starter at tackle and obviously a captain. Talk about this group. You mentioned 8-2 your freshman year, and then 32-7 the last 3 years, including 14-1, a trip to the state final. Last year, 12-3, the year before, state final. What has it meant to be a part of such a winning senior class?
It feels awesome. I remember freshman year, Coach Borchers sat us down and said that this class had a lot of swagger, and I think that's kind of stuck with me. This class has always been, what's a good word for it? They got good swagger, I'll be honest. We've always just had that to us, and it's definitely helped us out, and it's continuing to help us, and it will help us the rest of the season.
Max, you talk about you're a 3-year letter winner, 2-year starter, obviously. Linebacker, you played some fullback and kind of contributing to this team in whatever way necessary. How about for you? What does it mean, and how important is it, obviously with the last 2 years making the state final, how important is it for the legacy of this senior group? You've already etched a number of great things, but how important would it be to make a deep run this year again in the postseason for you guys?
I think it would be amazing. I mean, it'd be super special. Being here for the past couple of years, making great runs late in the playoffs. I think this is a year to get it done. I think it would be awesome. Us seniors, I mean, yeah, I just think it would be awesome.
Noah, talk about the SK game. Naturally, Coach Borchers, talked about just getting better and continuing to do things, that will lend itself to winning in the postseason. Talk about, for you personally, Thursday night, night before Halloween, final regular season game. Just some of your thoughts going into that and then getting ready real quick for the next week for the postseason.
It's definitely going to be a little bit of a different game compared to the last couple. A better team all around. Focusing on myself, focusing on the team, just getting better like Coach Borchers said, and we got to go in and execute, do our job, and kind of see what kind of team we are now that playoffs is coming up. I mean, we haven't played the best teams the past couple of games, but it'll be good for us to see what kind of team we actually are going into playoffs.
Max, I'll ask you defensively, that this offense can still put up some points. Defensively, what do you guys need to do to shut down the opposition? Because if there has been a part of the team, you guys have given up some points this year. What's the difference there? How much have the last few weeks helped confidence-wise, and what does this defense need to do to continue to improve?
Yeah, I think we just need to stay focused on D. We need to play more physical than we have, get in our spots and make plays. I mean, past couple weeks we've had basically shutouts, so that's definitely helped the confidence a little bit. And I just think we need to come together and play
all right,
physical.
So Thursday night you're at SK, Friday's Halloween. I don't know whether you still, obviously you're young adults now, but if you were going to go anywhere in costume, what would you be?
I don't know. I was kind of thinking about that
earlier. You got to give me a better answer than that. I mean, you can't.
I was thinking about it earlier.
I realize we didn't rehearse this, but it's okay. So, what would you be? Would you scare people? Is there a character that you like that you would go out as?
I'd probably just scare people. That'd be fun.
All right. How about you?
I'm gonna be Batman.
Batman's okay. So he gave me.
I was thinking of that too, but.
All right. See, they like that. Yeah. So you rather be Batman than Robin, right? Because Robin's kind of a gopher.
Of course. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Another one? No?
Nothing.
Well, you can't go out as nothing. I mean, that's.
I mean, I'm not going to go trick or treating.
Well, well, you might as well. They still give you treat bags, right?
I don't know. I'm good friends with Christian Brown, and he wants to go trick or treating still. So.
Well, and why doesn't that surprise me? Right?
Not at all.
Right, and he'll get as much candy as you can, right?
Yeah.
So when you guys look back, and I know it's hard to do now because you've still got games to play, but. When you think about years from now, looking back, and when you get together, because these will be lasting memories for a lifetime and good ones. I'll ask you both the same final question. When you get back together with this group, what do you want your legacy to be? What will you remember the most about playing high school football at Cooper?
I think the biggest thing for me is how this group has come together over the years. Obviously, the past couple of years we've made great runs. And I think if we do that again this year, it'll just kind of put a cap on it, and especially if we go out and finish it this year, that'll be very special to look back on. And like this class has, done good things for the program, and I hope it sticks with the program as well. Teaches the younger guys what kind of program Cooper actually is and what kind of legacy is left behind.
Very well said. What about for you, Max? When you think about, because I think that's one of the things for talking to guys who've had good high school careers and been on good teams, they really enjoy coming back and laughing about some of the silly nonsense that goes on, but I think they always remember that camaraderie and guys making plays and sticking together. What will it be for you?
I just think the brotherhood that we have here. I mean, we're all so close. We've been so close for so many years, and I just think, the brotherhood about it.
Those are two good answers, and you can obviously see why these guys are two senior captains. Let's give it up for Noah Reichel, Max Wethington, obviously very well spoken, and good luck Thursday and best luck in the postseason. Be back with some final thoughts from Coach Randy Borchers when we continue. It's a Cooper Football Show right here from the Florence Bar. We are back at the Florence Barleycorns. It's the Cooper Football Show. I want to thank great crowd tonight coming out. And supporting the Jaguars, it's a dime to donate from the fine folks at Barleycorns. Understand trainer Dan made the field goal last week, the extra point technically, and he gets wings for a year. That's a pretty cool dig, huh?
Yeah, we've done it all year, and he's the first one to make it. So pretty
and
impressive.
We'll be doing that during the playoffs as well.
Yep.
It will continue, and I know this is big for you, my friend, because Spin to Win Bingo is back next Tuesday, not tomorrow, but next Tuesday, 7 o'clock right here, and it'll be alternate every other week from the Brew House, which is down in Wilder, so that'll be starting here next Tuesday, and that's a fun night that a lot of people like to get involved with bingo. So SK Thursday, but then the real season, the second season, begins. You get South Oldham. You played them last year, and that was tight in the first round. I mean, really, you blew it open in the fourth quarter, and you don't want to look ahead, but it'll be Connor at Scott County in the other game. And you're right, the sister district, if you will, they've got some really good quality teams in that.
They do, and we talked about that earlier in the year when we were kind of you always kind of look ahead to say, okay, who could we have? How see if we could get some film, go scout whatnot, and going into it, we knew all four of those teams had an opportunity to win that district and really to make a run out into a state or finals or state championship. I mean, I really feel like that district's that good enough to be able to do that. So last week you had a really good South Oldham team and a really good Collins team that played each other, and I think it was a fairly close game. So we knew whoever we had that first round was going to be a challenge, and we said the same thing last year. When you looked at it last year, really South Oldham was probably the third best team in that district, and they got upset against Collins the second last week of the season. So going into last year, we really thought we were going to play a Collins or a South Oldham or a Collins team, and we ended up playing South Oldham. So, we know we're going to have to play really well, and what they do is a challenge because of what they do offensively. You really don't see that very often. So, as you said, not looking too far ahead, but it's going to be a challenge in the playoffs because you're going to go a midline veer team, triple option team. Then you're going to have to play a wing T team to, who else you may play. So we're going to have to adapt. We're going to see some things we haven't seen up to this point. And, you had mentioned defensively earlier, our defense is going to have to be really sound. And, if we're going to win in the playoffs, we're going to have to win with defense.
Yeah, and that's, I think, when, most coaches will tell you defense wins championships, and you're 4-2 lifetime against South Oldham. So, that'll be – and I guess the good news is if Scott County is your second-round opponent, assuming you win the first round, they're running teams. So, I mean, they're not going to throw the ball a ton. So that at least preparation. But I know how difficult it is when you don't face that, and then all of a sudden you do. And 5A is really deep. I mean, and I know you as a coach are always constantly looking at the RPI and following teams around the state. So when you look – if 4A, 5A, and 6A in Kentucky, all three are loaded with teams that you probably wouldn't be too surprised depending on who makes it to the state final in any of those three classes.
Yeah, and I think when you really look at it over the last 5 years, since we've been in, a competitive in 5A or been in 5A, this is most probably the most balanced it's been in 5A. Last couple of years, before Bowling Green, you had Frederick Douglass, which was in 5A, and they were always, really solid. You had Bowling Green. The last couple of years, you had us, and I think this year it's just more consistent across the board. And I think there's 8 or 9 teams that you could see playing in Lexington in December.
All right, a couple housekeeping notes before we let everybody get back to enjoying their evening here is obviously Thursday night it'll be Cooper at Simon Kenton, 7 o'clock kickoff in Independence, the final week of the regular season. Will you stick to the 7:30 kick the following week, first round of the playoffs, or will it be 7? Do you know that yet?
Yeah, so that comes down to it's a 7 o'clock kick unless if both teams agree to a different time. So, we'll be I would assume, especially if it's a team outside of the area, we'll go 7:30. If it's a local team, good chance we'll play at 7.
And a reminder for us, we are not here next Monday, but we'll be back the following Monday, and we'll keep going each Monday from that point on until the Jaguars hopefully are back again in Lexington. So, again, no show next week, but we'll be back on the 10th, I believe that is. And I want to make sure everybody has a nice, safe Halloween, right?
We're going to be back for Singo next Monday, though, right?
We are.
Okay,
well, and I know we might get into this, too, the Norsup, I'll call it beverage launch.
Let's do
which is
it.
at the NKU at Truist Arena, and they'll have it at the Brew House, and they'll also have it at some local retail. But I know that's been an award winner. So if you haven't been to the Brew House Saturday and Sunday, they have an outstanding brunch. I've been there many times. I like to eat. I know you do as well. So they have a really good brunch. But I got some people to thank, too. I want to thank the staff here at the Florence Barleycorns. I want to thank Matt Razor for the video. Does a great job. And you can, if you want to watch this again, you can. Billy Prickett, the audio guy, for answering his phone and remembering that tonight was a show, because it would have been, we might have had to do sign language without it. And, of course, Shane Beckett, who does a great job. He's like the mayor of all of this, and he gives me great notes and makes the job pretty easy for me. So, but we appreciate it. Couldn't do it without the great fans, and Cooper want to make sure they get great support. I know you do on the road. Independence Thursday night will be no exception. So best of luck to the Jags Thursday night and in the postseason. And don't forget, Washington is at Kansas City tonight in Monday Night Football kickoff. It's the Barleycorns, the Bengals happy hour, the specials during all NFL action. So ask a server about that. Have yourself a great rest of your night. See you Thursday at the game, and have a happy Halloween. And we appreciate everybody for coming out tonight to the Florence Barleycorns for the latest edition of the Cooper Football Show with Jaguars coach Andy Borchers. Good evening.